I'm here with Kristin Gillette, Athletics Director at Park University in Parkville, Missouri. Thanks for joining me, Kristin.
Thanks for having me.
So this is year 4
Year
leading
4.
the Pirates. How has your leadership changed or transitioned when you think about this year compared to your first year in the AD spot?
Right. So the first year was really a listening tour. It was fantastic to just live in the environment, get to know people, really hear what was working well, what were things that they'd like to see changed. And so now, fast forward to 4 years later, we've seen a lot of those changes occur. And it's nice to come into here knowing people already, and not just at Park University, but within the community of Parkville, and things are just starting to build on top of each other. So it's a fun place to be at this point.
Yeah.
And it was at the beginning too, but it's comfortable.
Yeah. Well, so you started, like you said, you're kind of listening and learning at first. And then was it last year that you all did a strategic plan for the first time under your watch?
You know, so through that first year, we really started the strategic plan process of just going through that SWOT analysis, right? And all the different constituents. To that second year, putting a plan on paper.
Okay.
Probably last year is when I found somebody who could make it look good on paper.
Yeah.
But with our athletic leadership team, we spend time every summer, these past 3 summers, I guess, to where we're really attacking what's on the plan. And this past summer, we finally got to, okay, what are the things remaining? What's from that initial strategic plan? What's left that we can focus our attention on, to where at this Women Leaders Convention, I'm thinking it's time to really start reevaluating the strategic plan.
How much, so as you think about that, as you hear all of these things and all these conversations about this current moment in college athletics, how different is it to think about college athletics today and what the role of an AD at a small college is today versus a few years ago?
Right. A little bit overwhelming.
Fair.
I need more education. I went to the session in regards to how to stay relevant. And, you know, you've been in athletics, collegiate athletics for 20 years.
Yeah.
And you think, boy, I've never seen it like this before. And so I feel like a newbie in a way. But through the experience of having failed at things before and being challenged and being comfortable with the uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so it allows us an opportunity, though, especially at the small college level, to try to be a trendsetter, I guess, or try to get ahead of this movement, or riding the wave with it, to help our student athletes more so than what we were doing 4 years ago.
Well, what I love when you say like feeling like a newbie, what that says to me is like you are trying to learn and you're paying attention and you're open to new approaches and new ways of doing things, rather than sort of thinking about it like got it all figured out. This is the way we've always done it. So I love that openness, and I have to feel like that is an asset for this moment in time with so much evolving.
Yeah, absolutely. If I said I knew it, we would be at the bottom of every category for Park University. So yeah, we've got to go find the industry leaders, the experts in this field, and really educate our coaches and our staff surrounding these student athletes to put them in the best position.
When you talk about doing a strategic plan, and I'm thinking how different things are right now, and just the far-reaching impacts of changes in college athletics, makes me think about the rest of the university outside of athletics.
Right.
So even though it's an athletic strategic plan, knowing that you're kind of concluding one and starting to think about the next one, how do you engage your other senior leadership outside of athletics on Park University's campus? What do you need from them in terms of your ability to be successful within athletics?
Yeah, that's great. Well, again, I think being in the 4th year and going into this 5th, having established relationships across campus in that time leading up, probably didn't have a lot of external athletic department on that initial strategic plan.
Sure.
And so, you know, you've got enrollment services and with admissions.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone is already so different. Here we are at the cliff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And what is the value that athletics brings to the university? And I think it's equally as important for across campus to hear
Yeah.
from athletics just as much as us understanding where they're trying to get
Absolutely. What percentage of your student body is student athletes?
So for us, we're probably around 40% on campus at
Yeah.
Parkville. Park is such a unique university in the sense of campus centers and
Yes.
things like that. But we're primarily a commuter college, and so on campus, though,
Yes.
majority are
Yes.
student athletes.
That's a huge percentage
It
when you
is.
think about their experience and how important it is, what their experience is like, and the rest of campus understanding that.
Right,
Yeah.
and just campus life.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Well, as we talk about evolving, Park has been a leader, and I believe was one of the absolute first in the NAIA as it related to new revenue opportunities with
Yes.
branding on uniforms.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how that came to be and what caused you to think this is something we really need to lean into at Park.
Yeah, well, it helps. You know, when I came into the position, we had coaches with over 140 years of experience, right? So
Yeah.
that means it's a good thing that they have strong relationships
Yeah.
in the community. And one of those in particular, Coach Klein, he comes from a long family line of NAIA experience, and he's the one who had the relationship with Hardscape. Now, since then, we have brought in Central Bank to be the uniform partner in soccer. But here's what I learned through the Hardscape conversation and that deal was we just looked at it for men's basketball.
Okay.
I really didn't come into that conversation trying to expand it to our women's team. And I think I look back and go, oh, what was I thinking? But so with Central Bank, to learn from that and to be able to approach them to cover both teams
genders.
and for them to see the value in having both teams was huge. And so we'll just continue to have that type of conversation per sport uniform that we do. But with Hardscape, they've come on board too to really surround us with our R&R women's networking event.
Oh, yes.
So, you know, anytime that you can find a partner
Yeah.
that finds value in what you're doing within the athletics department, those relationships will grow, and
Yeah.
we'll continue to find those partnerships.
Absolutely. Well, I love that you reference, like, I would have done this differently. And I think that happens anytime you're a leader on something. You're
Right.
in the forefront is you're gonna do some things really right, and maybe some things
Right.
that you look back and think, here's what I'll do differently
Yeah.
next time. But you referenced your R&R event, which I think is such a cool concept of an event. Tell me a little bit more about how that works.
Sure. So going into the athletic director role, I again looked to a lot of colleagues and what they did well and what would I like to bring. And one of them, Brooke at LC State, when she was there, had an event for women. And I just love that concept. And so with R&R event, it's an opportunity for us to showcase our senior female student athletes. And where we get to connect them with other leaders in Kansas City and trying to connect them with jobs and different internship opportunities. And at the same time, it's raising money to help us focus on professional development for our coaches because they have such a huge impact then on who they're leading on their team. And so it's allowed us to do some things and send them some places for professional development while in the same time helping our female student athletes. It's been cool.
I love that holistic thought process as it relates to the student athletes of, obviously we always talk about sort of success and experience on the court or on the field, and we talk about it from the academic side, but there's really so much more that goes into it that I think a small college can really focus on how to foster that so well for student athletes. You spent a lot of time working at the national office and then in a variety of roles, but specifically in the Champions of Character program.
Yes.
So I'm curious to know, now that you're on campus and you're in a position to really think about how do we deliver this directly to the student athletes and really see the impact that you always talked about at the national office. I'm curious to hear sort of what your reflections are on that program from the campus perspective.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I always remember in while I was at the national office and hearing from leaders on campuses throughout the country was, we are really doing this on campus in a way that is unique to our community. And I really understand that now. And I value recognizing that it's really holistic for not only the institution, but then team by team. You know, recently here, our softball team joined up with a student who has muscular dystrophy, and has taken that girl on and brought her to be a part of that team. Our baseball team goes out and does a lot with the Northland Christian community stores. And so the passion that comes through of what is of value to that coach is really significant and impactful. Where I'm at as far as leading the department is I get to come in with the players and with each team and really help them recognize how it impacts with Champions of Character, those values displayed on the field and what they're doing for their team. And we try to be proactive in helping them be themselves and bring everything that they have out onto that, into that very competitive space, and not get in trouble, basically. Because we want to keep them playing.
Absolutely.
And so, for example, it can be very, the Heart of America is such a competitive conference, and we're close together. And so, take soccer, for example, when you go out into, when you're the visiting team, that environment is not easy. Yeah. But when you score a goal, and it is like the best feeling because it's such a tough conference. Yeah. You know, we teach them, like, go celebrate in front of your own bench. Yeah. You can still have that moment. And so it's trying to find those things that is going to keep the conference commissioner from calling me.
Right. Well, and like the really practical, beyond just the philosophical values of Champions of Character, but really taking it down to a student athlete level, like here's what to do and here's what not to do in that exact moment. And it's the difference of just, 20 feet or whatever.
Absolutely.
That can make a big difference in terms of how it's received.
Yeah. And the other thing that I love, and I think we have to remember as administrators, is what that feeling of being competitive is really like for them as student athletes. And so when they do drop a word that we know is not appropriate, and they are rightfully called out for it, whether it's red card or whatever it might be, to then sit down and have a conversation with them. And
which you can't shy away from.
No.
Like, that's a great opportunity.
Absolutely.
At this convention alone, we've talked so much about how valuable failure is and how much of a gift failure or a weakness or not doing your best in a particular moment is. So I love that you are thinking about it from the angle of how do we immediately take those as learning lessons on campus.
And those teachable moments, that the national office has always stressed is huge. Yeah. So thanks for those opportunities.
Well, I don't know exactly where they came from, but I'm going to guess from under your leadership, Kristin, back in your 9 years, I think, at the national office.
Yeah.
So reflect a little bit what it's like to have gone from a national office role where you're thinking about the entire association, the entire spectrum of sizes of institutions, competitive level of institutions, all those things, to now being on a campus and able to focus directly on this group of student athletes and coaches and administrators. Tell us a little bit about your reflections on that journey and what really inspires you and keeps you going as a leader.
Right. Well, one, it is wonderful to just have a team to cheer for. Yeah. You really have to stay neutral at the national office. And so I had missed that. And so it's wonderful to be able to do that. And then two, even for our own conference, then you really take it to the next level is if Park's not in it, we're wanting the Heart teams to be successful. And I think one of the best lessons from that national office and kind of bringing it backwards in a sense of conference into the institution in knowing just how to make change. And so how motions work through the different sport motions, and then what it means to try to impact the conference bylaws, and then how does that turn into a national movement. Not that we've had any groundbreaking or anything coming out of the park necessarily, but to be able to educate coaches, quit complaining or do this, and let's figure out how this fits within the rules. And I do love being able to just know at least where to start and going to find the rules.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're speaking my love language now that we're talking about governance. But I do think there's a lot of power in understanding how things work, because that you got to know that to be able to impact change in some capacity.
Right.
So I can imagine just how valuable that is as a leader, and hearing maybe it's the grumblings or maybe it's the we wish this was different kind of comments from your staff or your student athletes. And I can imagine how much that allows you to sort of be transformational in those comments to what do we do with it.
Yeah. The other thing in seeing the transformational change with ASA, oh my goodness, it is neat to find these students, on campus that are engaged, not only with our own leadership on campus, but then moving it to the conference, and what you guys have done nationally with it. That has been awesome to see.
I love that.
Yeah.
Final question, what is the thing that sort of keeps you going every day on campus, knowing that there's lots of challenges and there's lots of hurdles and late nights and all of those sorts of things? What is it that keeps you motivated every day?
Yeah, well, I think no one day is the same. So you never really know what you're going to get. But it helps to know who you are, right? And to recognize that we're going to do what we can, and knowing that my job really is to try to help make that coach's life better, to where they can just coach, and that student athlete to just be able to participate and be in the classroom. I love finding those efficiencies, ways to save money.
Always good. Always appreciated.
Always good. That's for my president. No, but we're a helper, we're problem solvers. It's
service
fun.
oriented, people oriented always.
Yeah. If I could get a custodian though to help, pick up trash after games, that would be one duty I would love to relinquish at some point.
Also for your president.
Also for president, that's right.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time this afternoon, Kristin.
Yeah,
Really
thanks so
appreciate it.
much, Chesney.